4 times. Yeah, 4 times seems about right. All right. My bad. I'm back. Ish. So I'm kind of chilling. Mm. Man, Dino Nugs, best on the planet. Let me think. Best path is probably this direction right now. And in this room, if I can go. I mean, traditionally being in this room is pretty good. I don't. Yeah, I do actually. Oh. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. There's no way. I have no words to express my disappointment. This is ridiculous. Do I even press retry at this point? I guess, I mean. So I'm gonna guess that the part that I was at was the level 9 area of the rehab the rehab ward, because it would only make sense why he was able to do so much damage and I couldn't do much in return. But it could also have a lot to do with the fact that, like, I don't know, like,
get Brent with that down.
What? He said something about Victor?
Yeah, he's the one to thank for all the excitement.
yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. So what happens if I just go this way? I'm like, screw the rules. Nope, can't just say screw the rules. Okay. I can't be a smooth operator.
Shit.
Why does it sound like the Ranga help me? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, that dude is more than dead. That dude is more than dead. Oh, gotta be careful. They kill. They kill quick. No! 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 Get over me! And then, yeah, sequences to... Okay. So I was right. How much you want to bet by the end of today, someone's going to have a mastered layout of this entire game mode, and it's going to be down within like 4 minutes. Okay, typically this is the better way to go. I mean, there's even a free portal here. Like, if you just want to go straight here to the commander. Oh, that's the commander. Okay. Actually, let me go downstairs. I don't think I checked too much over here. Free kills, nice. Oh, heck nah. Y'all got that, right? Y'all got that. I can deal with it. I want to, though. 3 meters is pretty not close. I mean, it's very close, but like not like medium range. And a lot of the encounters I want to be medium because they're fast, so. Ooh. It decreases my damage by a lot, but I do like the fact that it says 400%. Like, I alone am the lone berserk one. Okay. Okay.
One thing after another.
Okay. You know what? You're really. Get out of here. Pissing me off. Oh, hello. Since when did you get here? Oh, no. Oh, okay. Help. Nope. Please. Please, Commander. Even though this is technically like a bus area, if I'm correct, this should be... What's his face? The dude who attempted to kill Leon, the assassin.
I'm getting
Did he just say I'm getting the feeling I'm not welcomed here?
I'm not wanted around here.
Oh, he said it. It's a very famous voice line of his. The one and only. No, I don't like this section. This is the liquor section. Oh. You're lying. Like, what am I supposed to do? This has to be the worst section to even be in. Like, even harder than the boss. Because you have 0 armor. These dudes are just machines in the base game. And in... what's it called mode? Insanity mode, good luck. My gosh. Nah, because... like, what am I supposed to do? Jungle Beats. Holla at me. Jungle Beats. Jungle Beats. Holler at me. Let me see the stream. Oh shoot, I forgot to pause the game.
Get Brentwood locked down.
What? Is it something to do with Victor?
Yeah. He's the one to thank for all the excitement.
So you're gonna want to take whatever this dude drops. You just gotta hope it's handgun ammo every time, or else you're gonna be kind of a little bit cutting it close over here. Yes! Yes!
Fuck. Let's make
Just my luck. Requiem off the bat. Oof. Ooh, this would be very juicy.
Let him get away.
Ooh. Ooh. Ah, fair enough. I got greedy. Very fair. Don't care. Greed! Take control of me! Oh. What the? It just goes straight to the Care Center? You telling me I couldn't have picked up that ammo? Oh no. Oh no. That's horrible for me. I mean, at least I have some. Ooh. Recover 10% of your. Yeah, that's horrible. Definitely not choosing that. So the issue is I don't remember if someone's tweaking over there. I think there was. Also, these have stuff in it too. I just never remember to check them. Like, I never checked them in the base game. Let alone, I guess, checking them in the DLC. I definitely wish to at least check this, though. Okay, so, realistically... I'll reload Requiem here, just in case. Okay, yeah. Who could have guessed?
One thing after another.
Not me. Probably not me. Oh, there's a handgun that she gets. Okay, now we need... Set on fire? Oh, that's so good. Because I love doing kicks. They call me the Kick-a-Maniac. No one calls me that. I just came up with that on the fly. I'm so sorry. Okay, nothing. I'm nothing. Yep. Hopefully there's no one over here.
Office should be upstairs.
Oh, heck nah. Get on fire! Oh, now they're on fire. That fire is OP. That fire is OP. Crap. Get on fire! Yes, burn! Get on fire! Freaking call me Sanji. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Very bad. What? I'm perfect at this. I'm perfect. I'm perfect. What can I say? I'm just the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. Oh my goodness. Gotta trust in me. Just gotta trust in me. What can I say? If I remember properly, his faces is up here. So Fully restores the durability of every hatchet. How's my hatchet doing? Oh yeah, I could. Well, let's re-roll this. Proves the quality. I don't know, but increases damage taken. Increases reticle focus speed by 20%. Increases power. Blah, 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 blah. That's low-key good as well, but I'm just gonna keep going. You win. Whoa. Wait, no. Okay, that's low-key a lie. That's low-key a lie. You should not be lying like that, buddy. Don't you lie. Don't you lie. Lying is never good. This, yeah, we'll take this. We'll take this. Why the heck not? Because that's Loki, the biggest cap I've heard all day. Weak points. Do I want weak point damage? I'll just keep shuffling until I see some. Ooh, increases fire rate by 80%. But you take 10% of the damage from each of your own attack. That's horrible. Well, yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Nobody lying. Whoa, okay, that's the biggest lie. That is the biggest lie. Because don't y'all have like a full-blown like outbreak going on over there? Like, I'm pretty sure y'all are like literally sniffing glue over there. Like, I'm decently sure. Okay, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. Oh no. At least I have a grenade. Is it every time, I wonder? Although I do have flame kicks. What the fluff? Okay. Okay. Please. That does damage to me? Okay. I'm dead? There's no way these guys can one-shot me like that. There's no way. What? Okay, this is low-key pissing me off a little bit. Because there's just no way. Like, who do they think they are? That to me makes no sense. But whatever. I mean, it's Capcom, you know, it's perfectly balanced. Everyone loves it. I definitely love it as well. You know, it's the best in the world. I'm not being a glazer, you know, it's just too good of a game, you know. I'm just bad at it, I guess, you know. Get better someday, or oh. Let me do this. Oh. Yeah, let me do this real quick. I need to see if this is playing or not. Okay, no, it's playing. Man, this is okay. You know what? Let's get back into the little action here. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Weakest military, country poor, bottom three presidents. America kisses Israel shoot. USA is trash. But didn't you have like wait. Isn't your country in terms of GDP per capita poorer than every state in the US? Exactly. Exactly. Search it up, buddy. You guys are literally eating trash out there. I bet the sewer rats in New York City are richer than you all. Like, get in with lockdown! Get in with lockdown! Get in with lockdown! Give me my pistol ammo. Make sure Runwood's locked down. I got people to save. And things to do. I keep forgetting that there's a free weapon here. Okay. Got out of my face. Yeah, let's make this quick, gang. Let's just make this quick. Oh, those go through enemies? I didn't know that. Get out of here! Get out of here! Come on. I went to the level 9 area. No. Whoa, no. I did not mean to go here. Oh. Oh, I'm so cooked. I'm so cooked. It's over for me at this point. It might just be. It just might be the end. End of the world as we know it. Like, end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world. I hate this entrance. This entrance is horrible. Can I go this way? Because, I mean, technically, won't run without fuel. So you're telling me I can bring the fuel all the way back over here? You're lying. Okay, I don't think I've once made ammo in this game mode. 17 people are trapped on a boat. Nah, they let the people off the boat. Or they brought the boat to, like, one of the countries in Europe. And your president ain't doing anything about it. I literally... I told them they should have just blew the whole boat up with all the people. I don't care. Blow it up. I'm not trying to have another COVID. I got people and friends and family as well. Okay, get the flip off of me, you stupid hillbilly. Everyone is massive on oil. 90% of the food mixed process. 90%. Oh my goodness. You know, I'd like to see who per person has a higher obesity rate. Does the UK or is it the US? Because I think you're just low-key just a UK glazer at this point. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you get money deposited into your bank account every day for the Labor Party, from the Labor Party. Okay, so is this the hard way to go? Like, if you want to fight the super tyrant, I'm guessing. Hopefully, it is. Oh lord, should I just fight, bro? With how many? I have 5 rifle. Yeah, I can't. I can't handle him. I cannot fight this man. What? Nah. No wonder why bro didn't give me any flipping resources. No. No. He does the one attack that can one-shot me. 100%. You're lying. You're the biggest fraud on the planet. Oh my gosh. Man is the craziest fraud around. I don't even know what man is doing. Probably teach this to they're going to be teaching this in the history books about how big of a fraud this dude is. Ain't no way. I have to Loki get off after that. That was horrible. I'll do one more attempt. Okay, I might have to wrap it up. I might have to wrap it up after that. That was horrible. Hello, gentlemen. Hello, ladies. Hello, fellas. All my fellas. Okay, Matilda it is, I suppose. You guys have more guns than people and you're spending all your money supplying Israel. Allegedly spending money. Freaking sounding like what's his name asking for help. Oh, this man's freaking crazy. He's cracked. Okay, watch this man. Cooked? Oh, he's not cooked? I thought he'd get hit by one of the cars. I can't hit any of my shots. I'm actually bad. Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want any of that. Step back and you don't know me like that. Step back, you don't know me like that. Get over here! Get over here! Okay, that's crazy, considering I shot the man. Okay, get out of my game. Oh, there's shotgun shells there. Get over here! Okay. Okay, that should be the whole level cleared. Okay. It should be... Where is the other area? That isn't the care center. That's a lower level. Because there should be one that's like level 2. I knew it. So it's all the way down here? Oh my gosh, I'm missing so much ammo. Wait a minute. Right here. Okay. No, but like, I knew there was something fishy going on. Okay, any more? Okay, not until I get down here. I'm wasting a ton of time just by going down here, but there's probably going to be enemies over here now anyways. Over there, though? Oh, right here. Okay. Don't know why it just made me run on that car. Wait. I can't let him get away. How am I going to get over there? Wait, I can't go over there now? Oh, nah. I've wasted so much time. Wasted so much time. No. I'm going to do one more run and then I'll be on. Oh boy. Guess care center it is. Man, I did not know that I was gonna get destroyed like that. I mean, to be fair, I was kind of John Wicking it. Bro's wicking it? You ever just wick it around? I can't say that. That sounds inappropriate. I'm mega minding it. I'm mega minding it. That dude is so funny. I don't know what it is about him. It just makes me laugh every time, but he is transforming. Okay. See, I knew that's why I backed out, but that's unfortunate. Nonetheless, that's unfortunate. Okay. Are we not going to talk about the fact that, like, one thing after another, ain't that right? Okay, okay, I'm getting cooked over here. And I'm dead. Great. Well, wait, somehow I'm alive. Somehow. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Okay, run. I might low-key... Oh, I could have just done that the whole time. There we go. That is actually wild work that you can even get that upgrade. Okay, they better give me... They gave me 30 ammo for that. Mark my words, that is to be the worst investment on the planet. Give me the kick. As long as I can get the kick. I can't even get the kick. That's crazy. What do I do at this point? I mean, I could have went over there and shot the thing, which would probably have been the best option, honestly. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to deal with these freaking goons. Which if I can get this dude right here. Oh, okay. Oof. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get off of me. Step back. You don't know me like that. Honestly, wait. What's my low key be the method? Okay. There we go. There we go. Move out of the way, Bartholomew Jesse the Third. Like, come on. I can't make anything either. Oh boy. I might as well just go in here and deal with this as well. Like at this point. I have not. Is it him? Who was over here making him? Oh, he's annoying. Oh. I'm on the ground. Get over here. Get over here. Well, that was good that I was just able to stun kill him. Just getting ammo that I can't use, though. Oh, that hallway is just certain death, huh? That'd be annoying. He's gonna wake up now? Nope. Oh, it's Jover for these fellas. It's Jover. Hello. Sorry. Sorry, dude. I'm sorry it's loud, but turn that music up. Woo! Let me out. Get me out of here. Actually, wait, no, I don't want to get out of here. Loki chillin'. Yeah, let's upgrade. I'm Loki gonna get cooked if I don't start upgrading. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit leg. Discombobulates. Confuses. Hit you. Oh, never mind. My plan did not work. You know, I'm trying to stun her, but she doesn't apparently like to be stunned. Cool. Oh, hello. Pantry key. Oh, I know exactly where that goes. Elephants? You cutting elephants with that, buddy? Oh, nah, 10 damage. I'm good. I'm good. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. You got that, Chief. That's all you. 80% extra firepower. Just because I think I'm going to die here either way, I think that'd be extremely hilarious, me just going boom, 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 and then just dying. But that's only really good if you can pair that up with the one that gives you HP every time you get a kill. Because that might be able to somewhat counteract it. Wait, does that do? Okay, that doesn't do damage to me. Okay. This lady's a piece of work. I'm just going to use a shotgun on her. Oh, it's not even that much damage, honestly. It's kind of like a reasonable amount of damage. And there's no enemies in here either? Man, this is sweet. I don't really like the gal. Maybe if they gave me like the upgraded version of it, I'd be more like susceptible to wanting it in my inventory. But low key, it's kind of just a waste of space. Okay. So here's the thing, right? Oh no. Okay, well, guess I'll have to get this. Which is my shotgun. This is stronger. This one is stronger. Okay. So I am going to go this way around just so I don't have to go back through there because I have fears. I have fears. Wait, no, the commander was impossible. Where's the non-commander? Wait, what's upstairs? Wait, where even is everything? There's something right here. How do I go up again? Shift. So second floor. Okay, that's East Raccoon Street. If I just keep going left all the way up, I'll eventually go. Oh, okay, that's not bad. I'll just go this way. Okay. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. No, because I was kind of worried a bit. That'd be a lot worse than it actually is, but it really ain't that bad. Oh, wait, the gal does have 1 star associated with it, so not bad per se. Do need a little bit more shotgun ammo before I start feeling like I'm cooking out here. Okay, equip. Actually, wait, no, let me register shortcut this one. Yeah, so this one. What the flap? Give me, make it 8 minutes for a second. Jeez. Ooh, I'll gladly take this. Oh, Requiem. Ooh, get Requiem. Okay. This is where we strategically place things out here now. Now we can place this freely in here. Oh, I can just fit everything in here? I don't want to do that though. Put you out here. Put you out here. Nice. And now I'll go like this. We'll switch the key register for you. We'll switch the key register for... I think I want this one to be here. Yeah, that seems fine. 2 is shotgun, 3 is AR, 4 is... Okay. That would definitely help me out a bit. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to... Oh. Oh. Hey, I'm not gonna speak to it otherwise. Now, is this one the one I don't want to go to? This is level 9. This one's level 9 as well. Huh. Yeah, but the commander's kind of like really impossible to deal with. What a flipping shame. Shame, honestly. Shame I gotta deal with these stupid bots. Okay, they're not letting me do any more damage. I'm just dealing damage myself. That's great. Love to see it. Let's combine these. Take these. And we're gonna go Okay, okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure that, dude. Oh, heck nah. Another. Get out of here. Yep. Oh, and that doesn't even count as the damage. Ooh, boy. Do you defenses increase defense damage taken by 50%. Decrease firepower by 30%. Defense is the best offense. The thing is, Loki not a bad one for this. Because I'm gonna be in close combat quite often. I love me some shotgun shells though. Do love me some shotgun shells. Okay, good. You're starting to. Cute. Okay. What a flipping shame. Okay. Anyone else? What a flipping shame. What an absolute shame. Sorry it's taking me longer. I'm actually living somehow. Um, that's my cardio for the week. Yup. Might be my cardio. I don't know. Should give you all my flowers when I had the chance. Take you to every party, 'cause all you can do was dance. Now my baby's dancing. He's dancing with another man. Although it hurts, it's good to say I was wrong. Is that a health bar in there? Can I even hit? I thought I could hit it with my axe, but I guess I'm wrong. That's alright, it is one bullet. Okay. That does give me more ammo for the Requiem, which does make me a bit more confident when I fight Victor Von Doom. But that's still going to be a headache by the number, whatever it's called. Logistics warehouse. Can I go up this way and then to the left, or is that door locked? It is, okay. Crud. Well. You know, I just realized desktop audio's been turned off. Just couldn't even hear the game. It's alright, it's alright. Okay, that's ridiculous. You can't just pretend like you don't see me. There we go. I can't go in there. Why did Big Ben himself tell me otherwise? Like, I have to do this whole thing? Ain't no way. I guess it's that there's the option to do the whole thing if I want. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay. Oh. Okay. Get out of here. You know what? Open the door! God! God, please. Okay. 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 Ain't no way I was able to do that. Okay. No. Okay, so this is what I have to do. Somehow I have to find a heal. Yep. Yep. I'm so cooked. Oh, I'm so cooked. I'll take it just because it's funny. Somehow managed to escape. Yes. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I'm just the goat. Okay. Okay, that's fair, that's fair. That's fair. Ooh, I'm tempted. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so interestingly enough, I'm going to put the Matilda out here, right? And then, because it's most likely just gonna be like this. Requires a firm grip, so it technically might have a little bit more damage than this, but it really isn't by much. Okay, so now I just have to re-shortcut this. Be up here. Yeah, I just need to improve quality, the Fortunes, full heal. Do I need a full heal? I mean, kinda. I'll do a full heal. So I feel like I'll have enough. Right? Increase firepower based on total ammo fired. Oh, like all of my total ammo? Okay, that's not bad. Okay. Increase, fully restores your health. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Refine? Refine? I didn't know I could refine things. What if I were to refine this? That did nothing. Okay, I got scammed there, but that's alright, that's alright. Using a recovery item temporarily reduces damage taken by 100%, excluding instant death attacks. Cannot be staggered while this is active during temporarily, but like how long is temporary? Like how long is temporary though? That's the thing. Let's do it. And then here, increases firepower by 80%, but you take 10% of the damage. So like, that's why I'm doing so much damage. But if I had a way to like mitigate the damage I take, but increases damage taken by 20%, which in favors the bold, that's not horrible. I can do this. Fortune favors the bold. I am bold. Whoa, the commander? Oh, nah. I gotta be crazy with this. Because I'm most likely going to die in this segment. Most likely. And if I die here, I'm giving up.
I'm getting the feeling I'm not wanted around here.
I died. Instantly. These people are ruthless. They have way lower health, but it's like they know exactly where you are. I don't get me wrong, I love this game mode. This game mode's so much fun. It's just yeah. It's so brutal. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Well, it was fun, you know, but I look, you have to take a break. Catch y'all probably